Hey folks, it's Missenden Flyer here. Now if you don't know me, I'm a motorcycle YouTuber and I make videos about all things motorcycle, and today I've teamed up with Yuasa to bring you my top 5 tips for looking after your motorcycle battery after lockdown. Okay, so before we can check a battery, of course you need to get at it, and in most cases on motorbikes it's usually under the seat. So let me whip the seat off of my Speed Twin and we'll check out the battery on here. So once you've got access to your battery, the first thing to do is to check for any obvious signs of damage around the clamps and connections and the case on the battery as well. This is basically a brand new battery in what is effectively a brand new bike, so it's in great nick as you'd expect, and it's, I'm pleased to say, fitted with an OEM Yuasa battery. Some older bikes and indeed cars sometimes have vent tubes as well, so if you're checking one of those out, just make sure the vent tube isn't kinked or blocked in any way. Okay, next thing you may need to do if you've got an older bike or you're checking the battery in an older car is to check the electrolyte levels. Now, my motorcycles all have sealed batteries, so you don't need to do it, but if you do need to top up the electrolyte levels in your bike, then make sure you, of course, only do that with distilled water. If you don't do it, you run the risk of having the battery damaged over a period of time. Okay, next thing to do is to check your battery terminals for any signs of corrosion. Now again, in my new Speed Twin, absolutely no issue here with corrosion as you'd expect, but some older batteries can get quite corroded, quite furry, like in this picture here, absolutely horrible. But do not despair, often you can clean the terminals and you can bring the battery back to life. Use something like a soft bristle, this is a brass type wire brush, just to clean the terminals off, and as I say, you can usually bring the battery back to life that way. Right, next thing we need to talk about is charging your battery. If the battery has dropped below 12.4 volts, it does need recharging. Now, there are a number of ways, obviously, you can check your battery. If the bike is just turning over slowly, that may be an indicator of a poor state of charge. You can stick a multimeter on it, or you can get a specialist battery tester like I've got here. So here we go. I've got a little battery tester here. You just stick it on the battery, like so, and it tells you whether the battery needs a charge or not. Now, as you can see, this is saying 11 volts at the moment, so that is definitely in a low state of charge, and this one needs a charge up. So here we go. I've got a specialist bike charger here to give this a bit of a charge up. Let's connect her up now. You don't have to do this on the bench. I've just done this for ease of recording. There we go. Let me just plug this in. There we go, and bingo. This is a great little charger. It's one that does a clever sort of deep charge. There are loads of these available on the market, so check them out on the internet. But there we go, that's into its charging cycle. Hopefully in a couple of hours, she'll be good to go again. Now, of course, the absolute best thing you can do to make sure your battery stays charged stronger for longer is to keep the battery in a good state of charge all the time. Now, if you ride your bike absolutely every day, now the alternator will do that for you, and that's absolutely fine. But if you don't ride your bike every day, if you're like me, you're lucky enough to have several bikes, then you might want to invest yourself in a decent battery charger and leave it plugged in all the time, which is what I've done here on my BMW. I've got that trickle charger plugged in the whole time, and that way I know whenever I want to jump on this bike, she's going to be good to go. Okay, last thing to note here that Yuasa have sent me, they said that long-term storage can cause sulfation damage at lower voltages, and this could permanently harm the performance of the battery depending on the duration of the storage and the parasitic loads on the bike. So basically what they're saying is, if you've got things like bike alarms permanently wired to your motorcycle and you leave it sat for a very long time, you could get the battery into a very low state of charge indeed, and if that's the case, it may not be rescuable without specialist battery charger devices, and you may need to replace the battery, so just bear that in mind. Okay, there we go. Follow those tips and hopefully your batteries will stay in tip-top condition so your bikes are ready to ride as soon as you're able to and want to. So hope that video's been of some interest to you, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.